Hi, and welcome to Pillow Talk with Angela. I have not had this young lady on the show it's been a minute, but I'm always so happy to see her face and hear all the good information that she's got for us. It's been a while since we talked about sex, and we need to talk about sex. So, who better? She is a board certified family medical doctor, and she's also a sexologist, and she's got quite a lot of information for us. Please welcome my dear friend, Dr. Rachel.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. When you reached out, I was so excited. I said, absolutely. So it's great to catch up. You look gorgeous
Oh,
and
certainly.
you sound great too, which is
Oh,
important.
thank you. I miss you. Let me just say right now, I miss you.
Yes,
So,
I
welcome
miss you
back.
too. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I was thinking it's been a minute since we talked about sex. And,
Yes.
for Pillow Talk, we need to talk about everything that grown folks go through. And sex is certainly a big part of it. Hi, Alvin. That's my buddy, Alvin King. Got on here when he heard that you were coming. I'm sure.
Yay! Hey, Alvin.
I was looking at your Instagram page, which I do quite often. And I saw that you've got something really interesting that you're promoting. But before we even get into all that,
Yeah.
let's just talk about why is it so hard for people to even talk about sex? I mean, every time I post that, okay, this is what we're doing, people are watching, but they're not commenting. And, people are just a little reluctant. Why do you
You
think?
you know what? It's so interesting because I think sex becomes I mean, I think when you're a kid, it's just kind of this natural thing that happens and it's great to talk about. And I think that actually as we start to age, it just becomes almost scary to an extent, especially because so many of us are dealing with so many different things as you're just going along this aging process. And I think one of the things we have to talk about is that it's just natural for it to change. Like it used to be so easy to get turned on when you were little, hunching, even you could just have a moment, like and it gets harder because you get less and less sensitive or more and more sensitive, depending on how you think about it.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that didn't bother you before starts to bother you, stuff starts to change, you start to get insecure. So, and it happens to both men and women. And I think that that part is something we don't discuss enough is that guys really kind of go through it just like ladies do. And if we had more open conversations and dialogue about it, I think it would be an easier process for everybody. So,
Yeah. That's so well said. In fact, I want to bring you in a little
oh,
closer.
okay, so let me scooch you
See
in.
that beautiful face of yours. I got you
Yeah,
hidden with all this background.
that's right. That's right.
I'm so glad you said that because it's true. I mean, things do change and there's no shame in it,
None.
but people are a little embarrassed, even couples. It's like, maybe she's not as into it as she used to be, or he might not be as into it as he used to be. And instead of speaking up to your partner and saying, babe, it's not you. I mean, I love you, but I just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Instead, sometimes people make up all kinds of other excuses, and then your imagination starts kicking in, and it's probably better just to have the conversation.
It is, and I think it's tough. You want to put on this exterior and this facade, and I think so much of our lives we, kind of, let's just face it, we lie. We lie to ourselves, we're lying to everybody else. That it's very hard when all the clothes come off to just be really kind of honest and just be forthright about it. And I think too, in our community, we joke and we jive a little bit and we make fun of each other, and I think that somehow too that plays a role in it becoming kind of this situation that we don't want to talk about because we don't want to be made fun of.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be a joke every time we're about to be intimate. And so, you
Especially when
know,
you're just starting to you're just getting to know each other. It's not like you've built up that trust where you can just be vulnerable and it is what it is. This might be your first or second time. And what if he just is a little too excited and nothing really works the way you want?
happen. No, that's interesting because I had a gentleman ask me just this past weekend. I did an intensive program where I have a small group of guys and I'm helping them with certain health related issues, particularly erectile issues. And he asked me, he said, so Doc, when I meet somebody, should I let her know in ahead of time? that it's not working like I'd like? I'm like, no. First of all, it becomes a self-defeating prophecy, right?
Want to
Uh,
lead with that. By
yeah.
the way.
No, no, that's not what I'm saying. Communication is great, but we don't want to communicate that.
Don't overshare too early. But that's a
Right.
good question, though. I mean, if that's something that maybe he knows it's an issue,
Yeah.
and at some point they want to get intimate. When do you bring it up, or do you just kind of act like you're surprised that it's not working, or what?
Well, because I think what we assume is that it works the same in every situation. It's just not true.
Yeah,
So I always ask guys, I say, well, when is it not working? And what I mean by that is it not working with your main person? Is it not working with your side person? Is it not working when you're playing by yourself? Is it never working? Is it
right,
working in the morning when you wake up? Is it you wake up at night and find it working? So I think what we forget about men is that men are human and have tastes and dislikes and things just like us. And when we were kids, it just popped up out the sky, like breeze hit it. And so what we don't learn as women or as partners of men is that as time goes by, it puts it you got to put a little effort in if you want a good outcome, so to speak, right? And I think that as ladies, so many of us go through life thinking that he's just supposed to be hard and just come to us like that,
right.
that we forget that there's a role that we play in intimacy and sex too. And it's
Mhm.
not just to lay there, you got to get involved in the process. So I always tell guys, just because it didn't work then does not mean it's not going to work the next time around. And if you think that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's
Mhm.
like taking a test. I think I'm going to fail. Well, you will fail. I,
Fail.
I
Right.
think it's not going to work. Well, it won't work,
Yeah.
So I actually coach the opposite, that really you don't focus on what's not working, you focus on what is working, and hopefully the rest follows. So
Work with
yeah,
that. That's interesting. I mean,
definitely.
what if you're in a relationship and
Mhm.
this is just, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yes.
How can she help him with that?
That's great. So I think first of all, we have to take the pressure off of the D in the room, right?
Right.
Because for women, we can fake it. We can put a little moisture down there before we come into the mix and pretend that it wasn't dry just 5 minutes ago, right?
Can
And
you do that?
and for gentlemen, it's a little harder to fake it till you make it. And so I think what we have to know is it's going to take a lot more to stimulate them. So I can't say put your mouth on it, put your hand on it or anything, because every guy is different. What you want to know is, how does he turn himself on? Like, what is he doing in his self pleasure or self play that gets him to where he's going? What types of things does he like? Sometimes, if you don't want to ask, what do you like sexually? You can say, well, when you're watching an adult movie, what scenes do you fast forward to, right? So it gives you a little intel about what types of things he finds sexy and what types of things he's into. Because a lot of times you'll ask these direct questions and you won't get any direct answers. So you got to be a little bit of a sexual detective to
Right.
figure out what types of things are amazing. Well, the best sex you ever had, describe it to me, right? So it tells you the location, it tells you what was happening, where the mouth was, because everybody is so different. So
Yeah.
when it comes to your partner, you want to figure out what triggers and turns him on and gets him hard quickest. And then if he happens to have trouble staying hard, like he can get one, but it seems like it goes down, get yourself a nice set of cock rings. They come in different sizes and varieties. And you be the facilitator of the cock ring, and really all we're doing with the cock ring is, like, imagine that this is the erection, right? You're taking a cock ring and you are sliding it on and sliding it up, and you're trapping the blood flow in so that he's gotten the erection. Now he can keep it all the way through the session. You just don't want to leave it on for more than 20 or 30 minutes. And the cool thing about cock rings is they come in all shapes and sizes. Now, Angela, I'll tell you a little story. The first time I ever saw a cock ring is I was like in my 20s, and I had this boyfriend who was 55, right? I was 22 and he was 55. So everybody would always be like, "Oh, that's her sugar mama." But actually, he really was. I really liked him, and he was actually probably one of my favorite boyfriends. But the first time we were intimate, he came and I looked down and I was like, no. I mean, like, you've been with different people, different age sets, but for the 55-year-old gentleman, I was like really impressed. So we get to going, and I noticed there's a little bit of silver around the edge. And so, I've always been kind of forward. So I'm like, wow, what is this? He's like, it's just
Right.
my cock ring. And what he had is he had his cock ring. I have a model. Is it okay to show a model on your show?
Sure, of
Yeah.
course.
So
Love that you've got all these props.
yeah. I got props because I just did a YouTube live about an hour ago.
She's like, and this is
Talking
what it
about
looks like, and this is what you do with it. So, just to recap a second, I think you're
yes.
suggesting that women can go ahead and have these handy. Order them.
Yes. Yes, they will become your best friend because what happens as guys age is they can get one, but they have a harder time keeping one. And so you'll notice you'll be up there getting your thing and you'll look down and be like, well, wait a minute, what happened to it? And you'll feel like it's you, but it really is the changes that are happening in his vasculature system or his blood vessels. And so, we can talk about how to fix all of that, but the quickest fix is to get a cock ring. So what you're actually doing with your cock ring is you're taking it. Now, in his situation, he had it wrapped around the base of his testicles around to the top. And what it does when you do that is it just forces all of the blood forward and gives him this massive erection. Now, if he's uncomfortable with the test, so when you do it around the base of the testicles and around the top, it gives it this prominence and his testicles become very sensitive and it's great for play. But even too, taking the cock ring, whether it has a snap or whether it has Velcro or whether it's even like a bolero style, and just tightening it and snapping it, it keeps the erection at its fullest point and can help them all the way through. And it does great for self-esteem. It just really changes the game because it's not about a pill at this point. It's just about, it's basically like him holding it like this for the
Right,
whole
right.
incident. And you see them when you're having, they're holding it, they're trying everything like, help me, Jesus, like keep this thing up. So,
I mean, that is really something. I mean, you don't have to necessarily
yeah,
take ED medication.
that's right. Because it comes with side effects. And honestly, that's what got me into this. I was writing so much, I was keeping Viagra samples and I was doing all of this. And I'll be honest, because I was practicing medicine at a clinic. My dad, my mom was our office manager. My dad, brother, and sister were there. We just started to notice, it was my mom and I first, we noticed that the guys that I was keeping the Viagra for the side, they were having strokes, they were having heart attacks. They were the ones that, were really sharp, coming with their gaiters and everything. And then, years later, we see them and they're in a wheelchair. They've had strokes and heart. So I was like, one of two things are happening. I'm not saying that that's causing that, but I'm saying that there's an associative factor. And so one of the first things we think about when erectile issues start to happen is we think about the prostate, but we have to think about cardiovascular disease. What's going on in the blood vessels, the reason it's not getting there. So, so it's always going to be a little bit of that. And so how can we make the blood vessels healthier?
Naturally. Now we're getting a little bit, there's a strange sound. I don't know if it's the microphone or I don't know what's causing that sound.
Is it like a buzzing sound coming through?
And it's getting louder.
You know what I'm gonna
Anyway, maybe you can
let
just
me switch mic.
okay, that'd be great. Hey, Vivian, she's like,
Switch
hold
mic.
up, wait a minute. This is so informative. Great stuff. That's my girl, Vivian. Thank you so much for watching and commenting. Tell everybody. I know it's kind of, early or maybe people are commuting. And this is going to live on this page and on YouTube forever. So if folks aren't watching it in real time, they can go back and watch it because it is good information. It is very informative. And just to bring folks up to date, Dr. Rachael is a medical doctor and she's also a sexologist, and she's got great information. No matter what it is you're going through sexually, if things aren't the way they used to be. Oh, look at that.
Is that any better?
Oh, that's so much better. We're back. Yes.
Okay.
That's perfect. You fixed it. Thank you. So,
problem.
thank you for that. And so that's just one of the many things that you have. I heard you talking about and center yourself too, because I think now you're off to the
Here we
side.
go.
But you were talking about this great bundle that you have that you recommend for people. Tell us about that.
So, so for me, I was in the medical space for years where it was just prescriptions and sending you to referrals and everything. And I started practicing functional medicine when I just really started to think, you know what, these nobody's getting any better. I'm just pushing pills. So what can I do? So functional medicine is kind of getting to the root cause and trying to help people heal through what happened, what's the problem in the first place without putting a bunch of band-aids. And so I have a e-function stiffness and prostate bundle, which is designed to give you the tools that you need to really stiffen up and help improve prostate health naturally. And for me, this has been quite a journey. For me, it really kind of started. My dad actually, when he started kind of towards the end of his life, he started being very clear to me that he had some prostate issues and some ED issues that he wished he'd have gotten taken care of. And
Wow.
if you've ever dealt with an aging parent, he was just repeating it to me, repeating
Yeah.
it to me, repeating it to me. And I had been practicing men's health for years and without even realizing that this was something my dad was struggling with. And so then what happens is after he passes away and I'm going through his things, I realized that he had gotten put on a list, like that man's ED list where they were sending him all types of terrible things in the mail with like these big erections with fluids shooting everywhere, like you could be like this.
Right.
Right? It's kind of funny now. My poor mom would be like, "Your daddy, he's got all of this stuff coming to the house." You can see it happening, right? And so I just really don't want guys to have to go through that. And
Yeah.
so for me, it's about. I mean, I have helped so many guys with their prostate and with their erection, guys that are thousands of miles away in countries I've never been to that I didn't even know existed because I grew up in
Wow.
America and we don't focus on geography enough.
Right.
And the
You
idea
show.
that I can help, yeah, that I can help guys heal thousands of miles away, just lets you know how powerful healing can really be because you get to the point where you get to a certain age and you just feel like it's over, but really it's just starting. It's just going in a different direction. So
Yeah.
it's a program that entails just kind of rehabilitating and kind of putting your erection through kind of a rehab, so to speak. And
Yes.
it happens internally, and you're doing some external exercises too.
Hmm. So what's in this bundle?
Okay, so within the Ultimate Prostate Stiffness Bundle is 11 really usable resources, along with a prostate massager, a set of quick release cock rings, and a number of instructional manuals that you can use. So, for instance, like the earliest forms of penile rehabilitation that have been used for erections dates back to pumps. So the very first vacuum erection device or penis pump was used to help bring back erectile function from a guy who's had his prostate removed. So now what we're using as one of the base anchors for rehab is actually a vacuum erection device, because what a penis pump does. Now, I'm not saying pump it up and then go use it on your partner. I mean, you can do that. But what we're doing are exercises that are specifically designed to rehabilitate the tissue. So I want you to think of it like this: when you're a kid and you're your 20s and your 30s, you're getting about 4 or 5 erections a night while you're sleeping. As time goes by and as testosterone goes by, that goes down to 1, maybe 0. And the problem is that those erections at night were like push-ups for the D. So, I teach dick ups, which are basically push-ups for the D, pumping, which is kind of like muscle memory. It's reminding your erection about what it used to look like, what the size used to be, to try to get some of your size back, but also to kind of help the tissue grow new blood vessels. And
Hmm.
then, of course, there's the internal part. There's what herbal supplements can you be taking? What types of diet do we know is going to encourage and improve testosterone delivery and production, but
Is
also
that you can, I mean, speaking of diet, like with foods, and are there?
totally, totally. When you think about the poison in our food that's processed right now, but
Yeah.
also I want to remind you that food was the first medicine.
Yeah.
God put everything in food that we need to rehabilitate ourselves. So, for instance, Viagra stops working because nitric oxide levels plummet, right? Your body's ability to make nitric oxide goes down. And in women, the same thing. But for us as women, we don't start to see the blood pressure spikes and the vaginal dryness till we hit menopause because estrogen actually protects our ability to make nitric oxide. So, nitric oxide is necessary for the blood vessels to expand and for blood to surge through, not just in the erection, specifically in your erection, but in your heart and all the vasculature.
Mm.
So, what happens, the reason men typically have heart attacks before women do is because estrogen protects our ability to make nitric oxide. And then
Wow.
once our estrogen levels start to plummet when we hit menopause, now we start to get the blood pressure issues. We start to have the heart attacks and so on and so forth. So, through diet, particularly boosting your level of nitrates. So, like these are my E Function smoothie recipes. And what these are designed to do is help boost the nitric oxide production naturally, but also provide the adequate amount of antioxidants needed to combat some of what we're talking about. And so, through a nitrate rich diet, I mean, Angela, you should go and read the testimonials that guys get on these smoothies and they're like, doctors, I don't need Viagra anymore. I don't need
Wow.
anything. And it's not magic. Sure, I've used clinically proven foods and nutrients in the smoothie recipes, but really what we're doing is boosting their ability to make more nitric oxide, which
Okay.
is what we need to get hard and stiff. Yeah.
Where does one get this smoothie book?
Sure. So you can actually, click on anything on my social media, and it'll probably take you to it. But if you head over to drrachelinstitute.com/smoothie recipes, then you've got a link right there to get it. So I'll send you the links, and you can put them in
Yes.
your
And
stuff
sure
retroactively.
will. And
Because
also, they see the way that your name is spelled right there. People can just
yes,
Google your name and get this. Okay, so we've got the smoothie recipes.
got
What
the
else
bun.
you got in that bundle?
We got the bundle. So then another thing that we have in the bundle are the prostate massagers, the cock rings, and we have coming soon the hydro pump because I really think that when guys are going through rehab, you can get any old pump. Any old pump will get you there. But if you use a water-based pump to start this process of
Actual
rehab,
pump, that's what it
makes a
looks
big yeah.
like? Okay.
So getting a pump is a big part of it. And then I also have a line of prostate massagers, which are designed to help soothe prostate related symptoms to keep you off of some of the medication. Um, and I mean, honestly, am committed at this point in my life to really helping men through this process. I mean,
Yeah.
watching my dad go through it was enough, and having him continually speak to me as I'm going through this process and getting these testimonials back. So really, if you want to know more about it, the YouTube channel is the place to go because I actually go into depth about some of these
Good.
processes.
Good.
And it's just been a
Happy. And I'm happy that we're talking about this because, like you said, people are a little reluctant to talk about what's really going on in their lives. I mean, I've got close friends who have gone through prostate cancer and the surgeries and all that stuff, and they're unable or haven't figured out how to be able to have sex again. Everything they've tried has not been working. And so I think this is a godsend for many people, whether you're going through prostate issues or not. So I'm glad that you're addressing it. Oh, look at this. Wow. The bundle idea is brilliant. Yes, it is. And thank you, all of you who are commenting, really appreciate it. I mean, this is just a tip of the iceberg of some of the things that we can talk about, but it sure is important stuff. I mean, I so appreciate you being on here. And can we do this more often? I mean, like maybe once a month or
I would love that. You know what? I would love it. Let's bring it. Let's do it. Because honestly, when I started the Dr. Rachael Institute, where we train other sexologists and things like that, is really to keep families together. Because I hate to see couples that stay together for a really long time and just don't connect intimately. Because
yeah.
there's always this level of snarkiness. Somebody's always really irritated and irritable. And the other partner's like, well, I don't understand. I don't know why he's in such a bad mood all the time. Well, he hasn't gotten any in months. So it's
Angela.
really, really important that we keep in mind that when you make a commitment to someone in a relationship, with it's marriage or what have you, that we can't forget about the sex piece, because just because you're not thinking about it doesn't mean they're not.
And
So
it's such a great thing to keep you together and make you even closer. The sexual bond with the person that you love. I mean, there's nothing else that can really connect you quite like that.
I totally agree. I mean, the bills will still be due, stress, the kids will still be driving you nuts, but if you can connect sexually, all that other stuff doesn't feel quite as bad.
That's right. You're in it together.
That's right.
Dr. Rachel, thank you so much. You're
Thank
beautiful. You're brilliant. Thank you for all of this good information. Do me a favor, shout out your social so people can connect with you.
Yeah, follow me at Dr. Rachel. So it's you just have to make sure you spell Rachel right, and there's never a period. So if you want to follow me on YouTube, it's YouTube/Dr. Rachel, DrRachael. If you want to check out our programs at the Dr. Rachel Institute, it's drrachelinstitute.com. And then on Instagram and Facebook, it's at Dr. Rachel. Facebook, it's at Dr. Rachel1. So please follow me, and share my information with anyone you think who needs it. Listen, we don't have to rely on medication for the rest of our lives here. We can heal from within. And that's really kind of what I'm all about, is how can we get off the medication and heal naturally?
That's beautiful, organically, naturally. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Pillow Talk with Angela. You're going to hear this conversation, not the entire conversation, but a lot of it on Pillow Talk with Angela this coming Sunday night, right after Manzi Pullen and the Original Quiet Storm on the radio station that you keep, your #1 music station in the DMV. That's 96.3 WHUR, as well as Sirius XM Channel 141 HUR Voices. Dr. Rachel, great to see you. You're
Great to see you too. See you next time.
See you soon.
See you soon.